Hello, my name is Jessica Perry. I'm currently a special education teacher. This is my 7th year teaching. I teach in Hill County Schools. I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So I teach in the Hill County Schools area, which is about 45 minutes away from where I live. So I drive there every morning, and that's where I teach. I work with special needs students. I've worked in the self-contained classroom, and I've also worked in the inclusion classroom. But my job now, I currently work in the self-contained classroom. So at this moment, I am currently working to get my master's in elementary, and the degree that I have now is just secondary. So that's why I'm in school now, to try to get my master's in elementary. So I find the topic that we're working on now, my disposition in the classroom, a very interesting topic. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So the first question that was asked to us was, what dispositions do you possess that you think will make you a successful teacher? So one of those dispositions talked about that all students can learn, and I really do believe that. Working with students of disability, that has really taught me that all students can learn. I've worked with students who are deaf, students who are mute. Matter of fact, I have a student now that's deaf and mute. I've also worked with a student who was deaf, mute, and blind. But one thing about it is that they can still learn. You have to use different types of assistive technology to help them learn, such as Big Macs and devices that speak for them, devices that they can hit that make certain noises, or that puts off a certain color, which legally they're blind, but they probably can still see like a certain color that flashes before them that says to them that this is the correct answer, or that lets them know to react a certain way. And therefore, you're still gaining information on what they're able to learn. And because of that, that's why I say they can still learn. So some of it's more of, it may not be necessarily all your academics, and then some of it's more of life skills. So I say all students can learn. And that's students from mild disability to your most severe disability. So I do believe that all students can learn. I also believe that educators should demonstrate professional friendliness, warmth, and genuine caring in their relationship with others, while providing intellectual, emotional, and spiritual support. I definitely believe in that, because I think with the kids that I have now, they're a wonderful group of students, but they need to know that I care for them. They need to know that there may be days that sometimes the work that I'm trying to teach them, because we still have to stick to the standards. And yes, sometimes it's watered down to the point where, it may seem too low, but at the same time, it's where they can reach. You don't want to teach too far above them where they can't reach it. And so, but there are those days where they're just not getting it. They're not having it. They're not trying to do it. They don't want to do it. And so instead of that being a day when I'm just pounding them with work, I take that as an opportunity to show them, okay, well, let's not take this as a day where I'm just going to pound you with work. Let's work on some other things. Let's go back to some things that you can learn. Let's talk about shapes. Let's talk about colors. Let's trace your name. Let's talk about numbers. Let's talk about things that I know they can do, so they don't feel defeated, And also, those are days where I over-treat them. I may treat them and give them awards for the small tasks that they are able to do. So you have to show them friendliness. You have to show them warmth, because you don't want them to feel defeated, like as if they can't do anything. And that helps build that relationship with them as well. The other question was, what disposition do you need to work on before you enter the classroom as a first-year teacher? And then provide an example of how you plan to uphold the disposition in the classroom. I would say that teachers understand the effect of community involvement and servant leadership as it applies to the welfare of others in the educational setting. And the reason why I chose that one is just because I understand the effectiveness of community involvement, but I do kind of struggle with getting more involved in the community when it comes to my work. I'm involved with the community when it comes to ministry-wise and my church and things of that nature. But when it comes to school-wise, I work with my kids and I love them. I do believe in parent involvement. But when it comes to involving the community, I do struggle in that area. More so, not because I don't believe in it, but just coming up with ways of getting it done. So that's something I definitely need some help in. If I can figure out how I can better get the community involved with supporting the school system, supporting my class even, because there definitely are some things that we would like to see improvement in, and not only in my classroom, but in the school itself, especially with the student body and the neighborhood, the surrounding neighborhood. So it would definitely be great to have the community involved. So that's an area I would like to see myself personally grow in. Number 3 asks, how do the dispositions demonstrate your ability to understand other cultures, genders, and learning differences to build stronger relationships with student and family? And how do potential biases affect teaching? And so I chose something about all students can learn, because I just believe that you have to understand their culture, their gender, and their learning differences in order to help them in their ability to learn, because I do believe they can learn. I do believe that you have to know how to reach their level of learning, their understanding, how they learn, but you do have to know about their cultural background. You have to know, because we all come from different areas, we come from different places, we learn differently, we grew up differently. So in order for us to be able to teach them, we have to know about their culture, who they are, their genders, and then their learning differences. And like I said, I work with students with disabilities and severe disabilities, so I have to know about how they learn in order to teach them. And then I also said to demonstrate professional friendliness and warmth, because that's important with building that relationship with the student and their families. And then I also said that potential biases can affect teaching, because you can be more in favor of a student or a situation in the classroom, and that can affect the tension in the classroom, the environment of the classroom, and then your teaching in the classroom. And whether that's on purpose or not on purpose, sometimes we don't do it on purpose, but it still can affect your teaching in so many different ways. Number 4 asks, how do you anticipate using feedback from your annual performance evaluations, observations, and data on student performance to adjust your dispositions and teaching practices to benefit learning? And I said that basically I would just reflect on it. I would take action. I wouldn't take offense to what's being told to me. I'll be ready to take the advice, and then I'll be ready to make the change. I do believe that as a teacher, we have to be willing to grow. We have to be willing to reflect on it, and we have to be willing to change up what we do. We are constantly growing in the field of education. Things are constantly changing, and we can't be that teacher to just become unteachable. We as teachers have to be teachable ourselves, and we have to know how to learn to grow ourselves as an educator. We have to learn how to go to professional development. We have to learn how to take criticism from our principals and from other co-workers, honestly. And from that, we should be able to take that and grow from that as well. So thank you for listening. This has been a fun assignment, and I hope that what you heard was something that you can take back as well. Thank you.